Trying to trick my brain here with a little decaffeinated coffee. It is early evening. I'm about to go to the gym, so I'm cut off of caffeine. I have here in Totoro. I'm really enjoying those Nescafe decaf sticks, by the way. Anyways, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week. As you can tell from the title and thumbnail of this video, today I'm going to be sharing with you all and reviewing many liquid sunscreens. As you can see, oops, they're kind of falling all over here like something out of Alice in Wonderland, like the cards toppling over. You guys asked me to review many of these in the past, and in the comments what I think about them, if they're any good. I have several liquid sunscreens here from Japan, from Europe, as well as from the US of A. So the reason I am, I've specifically collated all the liquid ones here together is because I think they appeal to a certain demographic of consumers as opposed to the more traditional creams or lotions of sunscreens. The people who I think enjoy liquid sunscreens the most, and by liquid sunscreens I mean those that are in a moisturizing vehicle that when you put it out, it comes out almost in a streamline. You have to shake the bottle up. So it's not a heavy moisturizing vehicle to begin with. It's just a pretty thin, watery film that is left behind on the skin. And the demographic that I feel as though gravitates towards this formulation of sunscreen are people who are applying makeup on over their sunscreen and find that putting on that heavy, thick white film in a cream vehicle or a lotion vehicle really just doesn't play well with the formulations of their cosmetics. And so they tend to gravitate towards a lot of the liquid sunscreens. The other demographics that I feel gravitate towards and benefit and enjoy liquid sunscreens are people who have oily skin and don't really want a heavy occlusive moisturizer on their face. People who live in really humid climates, they like to wear, I find, more liquidy sunscreens because they're not really seeking as much of a moisturizer in their sunscreen as they are just the sun protection. And so those people tend to enjoy liquid sunscreens. The population that I feel has been undersold on liquid sunscreens are men with a lot of facial hair in the beard area. I believe, and in my experience, I find that liquid sunscreens go into hair-bearing areas, both on the face and the scalp, much more easily than your heavy creams and lotions because they're less sticky, and like I said, they're watery. They just kind of leave a thin film, so they don't really glom onto the hair. They spread more readily than a cream or a moisturizer, so in spreading more readily, they lay out on the actual skin of the face rather than, coating the hairs in the hair shafts and weighing the hair down and making the hair shiny and greasy. So I think they're phenomenal in the beard area, and I think they work really well in the scalp line. If you are out and about and you're not able to wear a hat and you're trying to protect your scalp and you want some sunscreen, I think liquid sunscreens really go into the scalp very nicely. Just they're much easier to apply along the scalp line. So today I'm going to review some for you guys and share with you their merits. So we'll just start in Japan first, since we got Totoro on board and we don't want to hurt his feelings. All right, first up is the Skin Aqua UV Super Moisture Milk SPF 50 plus PA plus. PA reflects the UVA protection of the sunscreen. All here in the United States, we kind of have pass or fail for our UVA sunscreen component, but this particular Japanese sunscreen gets 4 PA pluses and offers a sun protective factor of 50. The sun protective factor rating reflects the ability of the sunscreen to protect you against a burn. Those burning rays are the rays that also directly damage DNA and contribute to the formation of skin cancer. So bottom line, just to repeat myself, any sunscreen you're using needs to protect you against both UVB and UVA, all right? So this Skin Aqua UV Super Moisture Milk, I have been trying out and I really enjoy. It has a mineral sunscreen in it, zinc. And so that is giving you, first up, protection against both UVB and UVA. So your cancer-causing, DNA-damaging, sunburning rays, and then the UVA rays that penetrate deeply into the skin, contribute to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, can drive a lot of inflammatory skin diseases, and cause rashes. This is giving good protection against both of those just from the zinc alone. It also has a chemical filter in it called octinoxate, which provides coverage for UVB. And then it's got some good Japanese approved filters that are not approved in the United States, namely Uvinol A+. It's also available in Europe and many other countries. Just the US is behind on their chemical filter game. But Uvinol A+ is an oil-soluble filter that is phenomenal for coverage of the entire gamut of UVA. It is really a great UVA filter. It's very, very stable. Unlike our UVA filter here in the United States, avobenzone, which isn't particularly photostable and starts to degrade with time, Uvinol A+ is very photostable and a phenomenal, efficient UVA absorber. So great, great filter in here. And then this one is very moisturizing, and it's got a variety of different humectants in it. It has a few different types of hyaluronic acid. It also has collagen. And then one ingredient I want to talk about that I actually recently learned about, I'd never heard of it, is bis-ethyl-hexyl dimethoxybenzyl malonate. Okay, nobody's going to remember that. HDBM. This, I was reading the ingredients and I'm like, what is that? So I went onto PubMed and did a little research as to what that ingredient is. Turns out HDBM is an antioxidant, so it's added to sunscreens to protect the filters while they're in the bottle, and it in other sunscreens the antioxidant that is typically added is vitamin E, but this particular antioxidant was shown to be just as good as vitamin E in protecting the filters in sunscreens. The other jazzy thing, though, about this ingredient is that because it can cut down on something called lipid peroxidation. So lipid peroxidation is something that occurs in the oils in our sebum, in our sebaceous glands. And when that occurs, it generates these inflammatory mediators. And those inflammatory mediators can contribute to flares of acne, oiliness, shininess. And there's some small studies showing that this HDBM, and pretty convincingly so, both in laboratory and in human-based studies, showing that moisturizers and sunscreens containing this ingredient can actually cut down on the number of inflammatory lesions of acne and serve as what are called sebosuppressives. It serves as a sebosuppressive, meaning it cuts down on oiliness. So not only is it helpful for people with acne, oily, shiny skin, it is a helpful ingredient for people with seborrheic dermatitis as well. So this sunscreen, in short, is phenomenal for people who are greasy, oily, shiny, living in those humid climates, people with seborrheic dermatitis. I think this offers you a lot, and it gives you phenomenal sun protection against the entire gamut of ultraviolet light that can contribute not only to aging, but flares of any existing acne or seborrheic dermatitis you might have. This sunscreen is fragrance-free. And let me just show you, I mean, it doesn't have a, some of the Japanese sunscreens you all mentioned have a strong alcohol scent to them. This does not. It really has no scent whatsoever. It's fragrance-free, and you do need to shake it up just to, disperse the ingredients. They separate out a little bit. But you can see, they all kind of go on about the same. We'll just get my arm in here. A nice liquid. Just blends right in. Like, it's almost like you're just putting a little light water on the face. It is not greasy. It is not heavy at all. You can keep reapplying this over and over and over again. And it doesn't even feel like you're putting sunscreen on. It just feels like you're putting a little refreshing sluice of water on your face. You can get this on YesStyle for $14.16. I'll list all of these down below for you guys. Second up in Japan is the Biore UV Perfect Milk SPF 50. I think they've I think they have this in a variety of newer, jazzier renditions, but this is the one that I have had and tried out in the past. I'm not currently using it. This has some phenomenal UV filters in it, really great. It's got zinc, which is a physical blocker against UVB and UVA, and then it's got chemical filters similar to the Skin Aqua, all right? It's got Uvinol A+, it's got titanium dioxide as well, which is probably why it comes out a little bit more pearlescent than the other one, but honestly, you really can't see much of a difference. I mean, the Skin Aqua and the Biore UV, they look identical. And it also has tinasorb in it, or bimotrizinol, which is another phenomenal UVB, UVA filter that not only is a great filter, but also stabilizes some of the other filters. So a good one, all right, and present in many, if not most, Japanese and European sunscreens. This one, however, is my least favorite Japanese liquid sunscreen because it has such an awful fragrance to it. The fragrance in this, in my experience in using it, is even more off-putting to me, for sure, than the fragrance in the Biore UV watery essence. The UV watery essence, I never really picked up too much on the fragrance. It didn't really, I didn't even realize it had fragrance in it when I was first using it. But this one, I've always detected the fragrance, and it's almost headache inducing. So this is my least favorite one. The fragrance in there can be problematic, particularly if you are already sensitized to it. This is not a good one for people with rosacea sensitive skin because of that fragrance. So avoid this one, but otherwise the filters are great in it, but it doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table. Oh, I forgot to mention that the Skin Aqua and this one, they're both water. In Japan they say waterproof, or at least that's what the translations read, but really the correct terminology is water resistant, because you still need to reapply sunscreens when you get out of the water, FYI. All right, lastly in the Japan lineup, I just have 3 here, is the Anessa Essence UV Sunscreen Mild Milk for sensitive skin. Now, that is key because they have a variety of different other ones. It comes in this itty bitty little blue. Come on, focus. But the Anessa Essence UV Sunscreen Mild Milk for sensitive skin, this is SPF 35, phenomenal. It has zinc in it, Uvinol A+, just like the Skin Aqua, tinasorb in it as well. This one, I actually can't recall what I paid for this. I have a few tubes of it. Some of my viewers have kindly sent it to me as well. So I know there's a lot of enthusiasm and people asking me to review it. I really love it. I can't recall the price. I think it's a little on the expensive side in comparison to the Skin Aqua. But I originally got mine on Amazon, but I think some viewers have purchased theirs from Yes Style, and that may be where those came from. But the Anessa one I really like a lot. It's pretty similar as far as filters and UV coverage to the Skin Aqua. However, this one doesn't have the sebum suppressive moisturizing antioxidant ingredient that Skin Aqua does. This instead has glycyrrhizate, or glycyrrhizate derivative. Glycyrrhizate is basically licorice. And licorice can impart a brightening effect to the skin. Licorice root extract just kind of transiently suppresses the enzyme tyrosinase that drives pigment in the skin. It's safe, it's natural, it's also moisturizing. It should be included in a lot more. You'll find it a lot in many sunscreens. Even here in the United States, you'll find it in like a lot of the Eucerin sunscreens. It can have a very soothing, calming effect on redness. So this one, the sensitive skin one, is a really good one for people who have red skin, redness from rosacea or healing acne. It is fragrance-free, which I love. I'm not sure if their other sunscreens are fragrance-free, but this one is great. I would say these two are some of my favorite liquid sunscreens from Japan. Actually, these are the only 3 I've tried, and I don't like Biore, so we'll just cut to the chase on that. All right, and then as far as Europe goes, I have to talk about the La Roche-Posay Anti-Helios XL. This is a liquid sunscreen that a dear friend viewer sent to me from the Netherlands. This is from France, this particular sunscreen. This is very different from the La Roche-Posay that you can get in the United States at Target, okay? You cannot buy this here in the US. And the one that you buy here in the US is not at all the same thing as this. This is superior to any US La Roche-Posay chemical sunscreen out there, and I'll tell you why. La Roche-Posay has their own proprietary UVA filter that they own the rights to. It's not La Roche-Posay, it's L'Oreal, but L'Oreal owns La Roche-Posay, and you'll find this in La Roche-Posay products. It's Mexeril. Mexeril is a wonderful, wonderful UVA filter, very stable, unlike avobenzone, and can further stabilize avobenzone. So many times it will be added along with avobenzone to give you really good UVA protection. It's FDA approved, obviously, it's FDA approved here in the United States. It was in 2006. But I think L'Oreal really had to go through a lot of headache to make that happen. And for whatever reason, you'd be hard-pressed to really find very many sunscreens. There's one that I'm aware of in the United States that has Mexeril in it, or the other name for Mexeril is Cancel. There's only one that I'm aware of. So the majority of them are in Europe and Canada, in France, and phenomenal filter. I really wish we would have it in more of our sunscreens here. I'm not sure what is up with that, but if I were a betting person, I would say it had to do with money, money, money. The FDA process, I think, is arduous and expensive, so I imagine that there's some bureaucracy that makes it difficult to just put it in all of them. But anyways, this one is great. It is using... The other thing I'll say about Mexeril that I forgot to mention is they have two sort of flavors of the Mexeril. They have Mexeril SX, which is water soluble, and Mexeril XL, like extra large, which is oil soluble. They both function the same way. I mean, they both do the same thing as far as their sun protection, but one of them allows things to go into oilier vehicles and the other one more watery ones. The aesthetics of this are similar to those. There's no fragrance. However, I find that this one, unlike the Japanese ones, probably because it has the XL, I'm thinking the oil-soluble Mexeril in it, it goes on, it feels like you're putting a thin film of a light oil on. It's not pore clogging. I never had any problem with any kind of breakouts or irritation from this. Very gentle, but it does leave the skin feeling like it's got a greasy or residual on it. If you're not bothered by that, great. That's not a bad thing necessarily, but a lot of people are not going to like that, particularly those of you who are already trying to choose these liquid sunscreens because you live in humid climates. I think you'll be taken aback by this. Alternatively, Bioderma Photoderm Max SPF 50, another European sunscreen. This one, is not L'Oreal, so it does not have the Mexeril in it for UVA, but let's just see here what else it has. I wrote all of these filters down for you guys. It has biscotrizol in it, which gives you UVA. Biscotrizol is water soluble, okay? And additionally, it has bimotrizol in it, which is oil soluble. So this is kind of biphasic a little bit. And all of these you need to shake up, but this one in particular, you've got an oil soluble and a water soluble filter in here. So you need to kind of shake them up like salad dressing to get them to go together pretty well. I don't know how long you need to shake them for, but you will, when you buy this, if you just pop into it and don't shake it, you'll see that a little bit of oil comes out first, and you're like, ooh, this is weird. So make sure you really shake these up well. And this additionally has avobenzone in it and is fragrance free. I think this is a great one. I went through an entire tube of this and I liked it. It's a little bit oilier, it's oilier than the Japanese ones, but it's not as greasy as the LRP, the La Roche-Posay. It doesn't leave as much of an oily film to it. So it's nice and light. If you're looking for a little bit of extra luminosity, sometimes having a moisturizing, sort of oil can act as an emollient and soften the edges of the skin cells, impart a brightening effect just by scattering of light. And this does a good job of that without being excessively heavy like the La Roche-Posay Dray XL one. XL. Oh. Now, as far as American liquid sunscreens that you can get in the United States, winning the game as far as I'm concerned, and I really love the Neutrogena Pure and Free Liquid Sunscreen. This is wonderful. Fragrance-free, exclusively mineral sunscreen. In the United States, our sunscreens that are exclusively zinc, titanium dioxide, they are the more reliable sunscreens as far as giving you both UVB and UVA protection. And so this one is really great. It doesn't leave a heavy white cast, I suspect because Neutrogena has microsized or employed nanoparticle zinc in this formulation. Blends into the skin really well. Here, I'll just do a little line here. And you know, it doesn't leave a white cast at all. It blends in really well. And this one's super affordable. It clocks in at $12.99, just baseline, but you know, you can always get a coupon or something like that. So there's a little bit of a white cast, but this is something that once you start heaping on all that makeup, if you're a makeup wearer, nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know you've got a white cast under there. It'll blend. It blends in pretty well. This is great. It unlike many of the other Neutrogena sunscreens, which are chemical, like I said, this one is exclusively mineral. And it doesn't have any chemical filters in it that are banned in Hawaii, so you can take this one to Hawaii with you. Whereas many of the other Neutrogena sunscreens, namely those that say with Helioplex in them, those are going to contain oxybenzone. That's part of Helioplex. It's avobenzone complexed with oxybenzone. Those I don't think are going to be Hawaii 5.0 Hawaii friendly. But this one, it should be, all right? Do know, though, that the zinc in this is likely at least micro-sized particles, if not nanoparticles. They don't disclose that in the packaging. But it does not say nanoparticle free, so I'm pretty sure that has nanoparticle zinc in it. Woo-wee! For decaf coffee, I'm still feeling pretty energetic today. It's the end of the day, and I woke up really early this morning, and I'm still going strong. Despite the decaf here in the late afternoon. All right, now a sunscreen that I admittedly like, but is so gosh darn expensive, is Clinique's Broad Spectrum SPF 50. It is like the Neutrogena one, exclusively mineral. It is like the Neutrogena one, exclusively is fragrance free. No nonsense. They go onto the skin pretty much identically. But the Clinique one has iron oxides in it, which can protect against some of the broader wavelengths of actual visible light, namely blue light. Those wavelengths of light, blue light, can contribute to persistence of hyperpigmentation and melasma. And using broad spectrum sunscreens that contain the inactive ingredient iron oxides in them can offer protection against that, and helps people with trying to treat melasma and hyperpigmentation, helps them get better results from their treatments, and helps them get improvement faster than really just sunscreen alone, if it's got that iron oxide in it. This one, however, is like, it's $27.50 for this tiny little bottle. I wouldn't waste my money on this one as far as putting it in the scalp line, though. I mean, unless you have a hyperpigmented scalp that you're trying to improve on, but then you probably should just get a hat and call it a day. So yeah, but I think as far as applying your makeup over this, this is probably something you'll like, and it gives you that iron oxide. Iron oxides are usually present in your tinted sunscreens as well. So moving down the line here to another expensive sunscreen that has tint in it. Unfortunately, a lot of the tinted sunscreens out there are done by more expensive lines. The only drugstore affordable tinted sunscreen, although it's not liquid, so I'm not talking about it here, that I have found is Cetaphil's Redness Relief. And the tint in that, I don't mind. It's okay for me, but it's a little on the orange side, so it's really not going to be friendly to all skin tones. So I have yet to find a really good fragrance-free tinted mineral sunscreen out there with iron oxides in it that's available at the drugstore. Eucerin, can you hear me? If Eucerin would just drop a little tint into their face sunscreen, they'd have a phenomenal product. Eucerin, can you hear me? The Eucerin whisperer, I think they would do it really well. But Murad's Environmental Shield City Skin Age Defense Broad Spectrum SPF 50 PA++++. This one is yet again another mineral sunscreen. Now, I just want to point something out to you guys. When it talks about protecting against blue light, they're alluding to the fact that there's iron oxides in here. Blue light there's some good science behind sunscreen ingredients that can help protect against that, and the utility for them in there being that they help people with hyperpigmentation get better faster. However, the claims that whenever you see claims about blocking pollution and blocking infrared, those are kind of extrapolations on, the idea that putting a bunch of antioxidants in the sunscreen is going to scavenge free radicals that are generated as a result of excessive heat from, infrared sources, or free radicals that are generated by virtue of pollutants landing on our skin, smog if you live in really urban climates. What they do is they put antioxidants in the sunscreen. And antioxidants in the sunscreen, while they're in the bottle, they can actually kind of help the sunscreen ingredients protect them from degradation and help them stay stable. Once you put them on your skin, however, antioxidants, their ability to scavenge free radicals is next to nil. I mean, this has been tested in lab studies. When you actually do, take them out of the bottle and put them on test strips and try and test their free radical scavenging ability, it's next to nil. So the uptick in price that comes with the claims around antioxidants, I mean, don't fool yourself there. But that being said, Murad did put some very nice moisturizing ingredients in this. It's got jojoba oil in it. It has oat extract. Oat extract and colloidal oatmeal are wonderful moisturizers, humectants. They do a great job. So they're logical ingredients. This also has vitamin C in it, which is good for the sunscreen ingredients in here and good for the product, but not really likely doing anything once it's on your face, and probably not going to undo the damage of being stuck in traffic behind a semi emitting a bunch of diesel fumes in your face. Who doesn't detest that smell? It gives me a headache almost instantly. It's just awful. I hate pollution. It's terrible. Speaking of pollution and the environment and caring about the environment, I'm just going to jump into the last of the tinted liquid sunscreens here this one I really love. You can get this bad boy on iHerb, actually. This is the My Shell Sun Shield Liquid Tint. I've kept it in the box here just so I make sure I have all the ingredients in front of me. But this sunscreen is Zinc Exclusive and a liquid sunscreen. It also has iron oxides in it. This one is cruelty-free. Is it vegan? I feel as though this one was vegan. I thought it was. Let's see. Yes, vegan. Yay! A lot of vegans ask me to recommend vegan things. So, yay, we have a good vegan tinted liquid sunscreen. That is phenomenal. It has tint in it but it goes on sheer. And the tint in this is nice because it's got the iron oxides that give you a little bit of extra coverage for that blue light. But the tint is nice because I believe that the zinc in this is not nanoparticle zinc. I'm not sure, but it says reef friendly. So I believe that this has no nanoparticles in it. Yes, I'm almost certain it does not. And so why it's nice that they put the tint in here is because when you're not using nano-sized zinc and small particle zinc, the film is pretty heavy duty. So the tint on this, it goes on, when it's in the bottle, you can see here. You can see here, that's quite a dark tint. That's quite a dark tint here in the shade Nude Light Medium. But once it goes on the skin, I mean, it's pretty sheer. Do a little forearm swatching here, but I really like this one a lot, and I think it offers some good protection there. So let me just get the last of my decaf here. I never thought I would enjoy decaf coffee, but the reality is I love the taste of coffee so much that when I can't have it, I'd rather at least taste it. So those Taster's Choice, Nescafe Taster's Choice little sticks, they get me. They get me. They land in my heart. Totoro, it's like an after hours treat. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the review of these liquid sunscreens. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.